there, it's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And this is Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast where we rate your favorite animals out of 10 in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics.
We are not zoological experts, but we try to get the best information we can.
I have literally the best information possible to share with you.
Excellent.
Today. As a little peek behind the scenes, Christian and I were doing our notes together very romantically a couple nights ago, and I came across the most beautiful glittering treasure trove of information that I said out loud. I said, it is going to be physically difficult for me to not tell you about this before we record. I was losing it. I'm so excited to finally get to share this with you. I've been just gnawing at the bars of my enclosure to tell you what I've learned.
Well, I'm excited.
We just got back from a trip. We took our kids down to Florida to visit family and such for a week. It was a real whirlwind. We're very tired.
Yeah.
It was a lovely trip, but also we were traveling with two small children.
It is a long way away and hot.
Oh my God, it's so hot. I had gotten unaccustomed to the specific sort of climate conditions of Florida in August.
Yeah, it was a shock, but I felt like I got back into the swing pretty quick.
You did, maybe. Not me. So that was fun. We're back now. It was a lot and we're tired. And since we're getting back into the swing of things, I wanted to kick off this week's episode with an animal that I've really just been dying to talk about.
And what is that, Ellen?
It's dung beetles.
Ah.
This animal was requested by me.
It does say that.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about this. It had been really stuck in my mind, and I was sitting there waiting. I was like, every time someone would send an email, I'd be like, I hope they're asking about dung beetles. And I realized nobody was going to ask me about dung beetles, and I have to be the change I want to see in the world. So I took matters into my own hands, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do one for me.
Oh, good.
I'm going to talk about dung beetles. I'm getting my information from the San Diego Zoo, but also from a lot of other fun little sources that I'll cite as they come up. If you're not familiar with dung beetles, these are stout little beetles. They're kind of round shaped. They're short, and they eat mostly dung, which for young people listening who maybe haven't heard the word dung before, that means poop.
Yeah.
They mostly eat poop. So we're going to be talking about poop a lot in this episode. And typically that is mammal poop specifically, by the way, because mammals just generate the type of poop that like works best for them, I think. You know, you think of like bird poop, which is very liquidy and just kind of blech on the ground, you know.
Sure.
Even the biggest dung beetles are only a couple of inches long, so they're not very big, but they have a big place in my heart.
Oh.
The true dung beetles make up a taxonomic subfamily called Scarabaeinae, and there are about 5,000 known species of true dung beetle.
That's a lot.
There it is, and there's other beetles outside of this family that you would consider a dung beetle because they eat mostly poop. I'm just trying to focus on the sort of true dung beetle family. And I found this interesting as I was kind of scrolling through the different species of true dung beetle. There is, in fact, a genus of dung beetle called Sisyphus. Do you know who Sisyphus is?
The rolling the rock up, yeah.
Yeah, so Sisyphus is a character from mythology who's been mentioned on this podcast before from the Hot Wheels Sisyphus spider. Do you remember me talking about that? There's a spider that some scientists named Hot Wheels Sisyphus. Like genus Hot Wheels.
Vaguely familiar.
Species Sisyphus. Sisyphus is a guy in Greek mythology where basically he was being punished by the gods, and his punishment was that he has to forever, for the rest of eternity, roll a boulder up a hill. And as soon as he gets the boulder to the top of the hill, the boulder rolls back down to the bottom. He has to push it back up all the way over again. And he just does that back and forth forever for the rest of time.
How come he doesn't just stop?
Why don't you ask him? Hey, Sisyphus, have you thought of just not doing that? How about don't?
Tell him.
And naturally, because he's pushing a boulder, that resembles the behavior of many species of dung beetles, in which they roll poop into a ball, a large ball, and push it around to get it from place to place.
Katamari style.
Katamari style, yes, exactly. So there are actually 3 different types of dung beetle behaviors. There's 3 sort of they call them guilds, which I think is really funny. Classes of dung beetle based on what they do with the poop. So there's rollers, which is probably what you're thinking of, where they roll it up into a ball like they're going to make a snowman out of it almost. And they push it around to get it from place to place. So they'll find the poop, roll it up into a ball, and then roll it somewhere else. So they're transporting the poop to something like a nest or a burrow, something that they have dug, and then they kind of bury it underground. Which I think is kind of funny because it's humans kind of like to brag that they invented the wheel. Dung beetles didn't also figure that out. It's yeah, round thing, go fast. Yeah, we got that.
That's a ball, though.
I mean, yeah, but still,
Sphere.
they figured out take thing, make round.
Yeah.
Then go.
Sure.
But there's also tunnelers, which actually dig tunnels underneath the dung and then carry it down into the tunnels below. So they don't actually roll it into a ball. They just kind of put their burrow under the dung and then just let it down that way.
Okay.
And then there's a different group called dwellers. They just make themselves at home right there in the poop.
Okay.
They just dig straight into it and they're like, this is fine.
And those are the 3 guilds.
Those are the guilds of dung beetles.
Yeah, quick, tag yourself.
Tag yourself. I'm a dweller rising, roller sun, tunneler moon. Okay, so if this is your first time ever listening to this podcast, we rate animals out of 10. The first category is effectiveness, which is physical adaptations, things built into the animal's body, let it do the things they're doing. I am giving dung beetles a 9 out of 10.
That's impressive.
They are so good. So the rollers, first of all, they go about rolling this ball in what I consider to be an unexpected way. If you've never really looked at a dung beetle doing what they're doing, it might kind of catch you off guard, because I imagine if you tasked me with rolling a large ball around, I would push it with my arms, put my hands against it and push it that way. That's not what they do. They turn around and push it with their legs.
Okay.
They do a headstand. So they're standing on their forelimbs, so their front arms, what we would kind of think of being analogous to our arms, and they're pushing it with their back legs up against the ball, and they're walking with their hands backwards.
They're adding some razzle dazzle.
It's a little flair, a little personality, which I think is kind of funny to look at. Now, this requires the roller types of dung beetles to be quite strong. They are very, very powerful for their body size, right? Because remember, these are a teeny tiny little bug. But for example, the Taurus scarab, which is a species called Onthophagus taurus, which is so named because they have these little bull horns on front of their head, which is kind of cool looking.
What about that genus name?
Onthophagus? I don't know what ontho means. Phagus usually means they eat something. I don't know what the ontho part means.
I thought phagus was poop related.
No, you're thinking of coprophagia, which is actually the fancy word for eating poop.
Yes,
these are coprophagous bugs.
Got it.
I don't know what ontho means though. I didn't look into that. But this species has been documented pulling weight of over 1,100 times its own body weight.
Yeah,
which I believe makes them the strongest, definitely the strongest insect on record. I would also wager a guess that this would also make them the strongest animal in the world, relative to their body size.
we see this a lot with insects.
Right. Yeah, because, they're little.
Yeah.
Picking up 1,000 times their body weight is not
Really that heavy. And it's not the kind of thing that scales. If you were to make the bug much, much bigger.
Yeah, because I do think it's fun to make those comparisons of if they were this big, they would lift something this size. Whereas it doesn't really work like that. Well, first of all, if they were this size, they would die.
They would suffocate immediately.
They wouldn't be lifting much. But just for the record, that would be if I lifted the Statue of Liberty.
Nice.
I did the math for funsies.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And that paper, by the way, that recorded that was called Mating Tactics Determine Patterns of Condition Dependence in a Dimorphic Horned Beetle by Robert J. Nell and Lee W. Simmons in the Proceedings of Biological Sciences in August of 2010.
Did you mention where in the world one might find these?
Dung beetles?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Like on all continents?
Yeah, everywhere. Oh. Yeah, there's dung beetles everywhere.
Okay, because I always picture them being in like a Sahara type setting in Africa. For sure there. Because of documentaries and things. But I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
You may have, but just not known that was what it was.
Right. Not actively rolling poop.
Or it could have just been one of the kinds that doesn't roll poop. Yeah, you know, like if you actually, you know what, because you have had a lot of time in your life on farms, you probably saw them there. They're big on like farmland because cattle, right? Yeah. They're just leaving big piles of poop everywhere. There was definitely dung beetles out there. You probably just either didn't see them or didn't notice them.
Interesting.
Or maybe just didn't recognize what they were doing, right? Yeah. Many types of dung beetles can fly.
Okay.
So like other beetles, they have flight wings that tend to be kind of tucked up underneath that like hard outer shell. If you think of like a ladybug, which is a type of beetle, that part of the shell that's like colorful with spots on it, that's called the elytra, which is like the outer casing of a beetle's wings. And they got little flight wings tucked up under there. So when they need to fly around, they just lift those up like a little spaceship hatch and like flutter around. They can't fly for very far. They're not really made for it, but they can fly around to like look for dung if they don't have any in front of them. Some dung beetles are kitted out with sick weapons, like a North American species called the rainbow scarab, which is gorgeous. They're like a really iridescent metallic like rainbowy color. They're really, really cool, but they have like a giant unicorn horn sticking out of their face. It's mostly for fighting each other. Yeah. But as a little side note, the females of the rainbow scarab, they don't have horns, and I'm pretty sure that I saw rainbow scarabs on Cumberland Island in Georgia when I was like 10. I don't know. I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure that I saw rainbow scarabs because we were walking somewhere, and this is like big wide open grassy field and everything. We're walking along it, and I see this beetle that I noticed for being just the most bright, colorful, gorgeous beetle. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful beetle. And it didn't have horns, so I think it may have been a female of the rainbow scarab. And it looked exactly like that. And I remember my whole life thinking, you know, I think it was some type of dung beetle. It wasn't rolling dung, but I remember just like it stuck in my head as being like a really cool beetle that I saw. And I checked, that species has been documented on Cumberland Island. Oh. So I think that's what I saw. Okay. Obviously, I didn't take a picture because I was 10, but pretty sure I saw one.
Nice.
Some dung beetles have spade-shaped heads for pushing the dung around. It's like they have like a scoop almost like on the front of their head, which is cool. They can kind of like nudge dung around that way. But the dung can sometimes be a trap.
How so?
Burrowing owls will sometimes collect mammal dung, which, as you know, they do not eat. They have no need to be playing with mammal dung. Right. They will arrange it close to the entrance of the owl's burrow.
I see.
And then wait for the beetles to be enticed by what I'm sure is an alluring aroma of poop. They smell that poop and they're like, dinner. Delicious.
So it's bait for the beetles.
It is bait. Yeah, they will set out bait, which I think is points for the burrowing owl.
Yeah.
It's tool use, right? In fact, I got that observation from an article titled Use of Dung as a Tool by Burrowing Owls. That was by Douglas J. Levy in Nature in September of 2004.
Wow.
So whether they're tunneling into the dung to live inside of it or rolling it around, I think they're pretty well suited to what they're doing. The next category that we rate animals on is ingenuity, which is behaviors, things the animal's doing to solve problems and thrive in their world. I'm giving them a full 10 out of 10 for ingenuity. Dung beetle behavior is wild. It is so cool. First of all, the dung ball is, in some ways, a tool on its own for the dung beetle. Because first of all, yes, you have taken a resource that you need to transport that is too heavy for you to just lift up and carry, right? Ants, a lot of times, will just pick something up and they just carry it around, right? They're doing kind of I'm thinking the easy way, but they're lifting more weight. But dung beetle, I think just like turning the resource into a shape that can be easily transported, like manipulating the resource into a shape that you can transport, that right there is pretty smart, right?
True.
Like I think for an insect, having the ability to like turns something into something else is very smart. But they also use the dung ball as a tool. So since many dung beetles, like you mentioned earlier, live in very hot places, you'll often see them in deserts or in big grassy fields where, the sun is shining and the ground underneath them is very hot. So if the dung beetle needs a break to cool off, they just climb on top of their dung ball and they take a little breather up there, and it helps them get away from like the heat that's being reflected off of the ground.
Sure.
So it's almost like a portable heat sink to like keep them away from the heat of the ground.
Yeah.
And I got that from an article called Dung Beetles Use Their Dung Ball as a Mobile Thermal Refuge by Jochen Smolka et al. In Current Biology in October 2012. And before I move away from this article, this is the thing. This is the thing that I really, really wanted to tell you about.
All right.
I'm just going to read straight from the article. This is just a quote from the paper. To test if an increase in leg temperature during a rolling phase triggers ball climbing, so they're testing to see if their legs got hot and that made them climb on top of the ball, we applied insulating boots made from dental silicone to the beetles' front legs before testing them in a hot arena. With the boots on, the average rolling time between consecutive ball climbs almost doubled from 10.7 seconds to 20.8 seconds in the same individuals. Beetles with boots consequently climbed their ball 35% less often than without boots, indicating that ball climbing is mediated by temperature changes in the front legs. So they put boots on beetles. They made little tiny rubber boots for the beetles.
So what color were they?
Blue. And before you ask, yeah, there's a photo.
Excellent.
I'm going to pull up this picture for you real quick. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
This is the boots. What is this Dr. Seuss behavior?
Listen, if it's too hot for your feet, it's too hot for their feet.
That's true. If you're hot, they're hot. Bring them inside. They got little boots on the beetles. Are you wearing the Chanel boots? Yeah, I am. Oh man, I would have given anything to get to design the boots that they put on the little beetles.
I wonder why the legs, though. Why the legs specifically for temperature change?
Because that's the one touching the hot part.
Oh, okay. And that's why it was only the front legs that they did the boots on.
Because that's where they're also hand boots, I guess. So it's kind of like mittens.
Yeah.
Mittens for beetles. Oven mitts for beetles.
Although I do like the imagery of them wearing rain boots on their hands.
That's basically exactly what they're doing in these pictures. It's so cute. It's adorable. So yeah, Dr. Seuss behavior going on in the science lab, putting little boots on little beetles.
That's excellent.
Oh God, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Now, dung beetles are also very romance.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're very romance. Male dung beetles will often present a desired female with their finest dung work.
Okay.
Their magnum pupus.
That's in your notes, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, it is, actually. Google Docs is so mad at me. They're like, you spelled this wrong. So they'll present her with their finest dung ball to really woo her. I mean, you know, some girls want like a diamond ring, chocolates, perhaps.
So close.
Yeah, they almost had it. So once they present this female dung beetle with a ball of poop, the dung beetles will then work together as a mated pair to get the ball where they need to go. Now, this is a surprisingly sophisticated operation, basically, because the beetles will stand on opposite sides of the dung ball, and one will push and the other will pull.
Oh, okay.
So they both have to get the ball to a location neither of them knows. This is not premeditated. This is not planned. They have to get it in a straight line to wherever it is they're trying to go, together, working like on opposite sides, and they can't see each other because the dung ball is big and they are little. So I feel like anyone who's ever like moved furniture with a partner can maybe relate to this a little bit if you've ever tried to like carry a dresser.
It's an early relationship test.
It is. Well, I mean, if you're moving furniture, if you're like moving in together, that shouldn't be, hopefully that's not that early relationship, but they've gone 0 to 100. They just met. He has just offered her a giant ball of poop. This is first date content for Dung Beetles. Mm-hmm. So they have to kind of navigate together. There's this paper called Spider Dung Beetles, Coordinated Cooperative Transport Without a Predefined Destination. This was by Claudia Tocco et al. In Proceedings of Biological Sciences in January of 2024. That's this year. Yeah. It's like a few months ago. And to read from this paper, because I found this really interesting, quote, pairs of male and female dung beetles successfully transport brood balls to a location unknown to either party at the start of their common journey. We found that when forced to overcome a series of obstacles in their path, transport efficiency of pairs of beetles was higher than of solo males. To climb tall obstacles with their common ball of dung, the female assisted the leading male in lifting the ball by steadying and pushing it upwards in a headstand position during the climb initiation. So basically, the female is kind of helping keep the ball steady or helping push it along. Like the male is sort of leading the way and the female is sort of helping it like stay on track and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they do a better job of it when they work together rather than when the male is solo, which I think is really interesting. Something that the researchers mention is that the manipulation of this large, heavy object over obstacles, up steep inclines, stuff like that, probably requires some type of communication between the beetles, but that's a complete mystery still. Nobody knows if they are communicating with each other, how, they're doing that. And it seems to be that maybe they can just kind of feel which way the ball is going. Maybe they can feel where the other beetle is touching the ball. Oh. Like it could be something like that. Maybe it's just like tactile, like communication between them, but it seems to be working for them. It reminds me a lot of like if you've ever tried to play an online game with people who don't have a microphone. You have to like emote to communicate.
Your way to victory.
It's a little bit like playing Journey. Have you played that game, Journey?
I don't think so. No.
It's kind of like a little like puzzle exploration game where you're playing it with another player, but you have no means of communicating with each other. You have to just kind of like gesture at each other to solve like puzzles and stuff. It's really cool. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for dung beetles because sometimes the beetles may steal a dung ball from another beetle.
Dishonorable.
This is so and even to add sort of insult to injury, if a female is already like gripped the dung ball, she's already like locked in, she stays loyal to the dung ball, not the male. So if someone comes along and steals your dung ball, they stole your dung and your girl. It's just like the ultimate mogging. Just like, you're done. You just got wrecked. They took your dung and your girl. This is
some Game of Thrones stuff.
Atrocious. Yeah. And so more kind of on the topic of navigation, because I mentioned that they have to get a ball from point A to point B in a straight line. Because if you're zigzagging too much, you're going to run into stuff. It's not very efficient. Your ball's going to get stolen. It's introducing a lot of opportunity for bad things to happen to your ball, so they do it in a straight line. Now, they can do this even at night when it is dark, which has led scientists to find that their eyes are actually able to detect the polarization patterns of moonlight.
Wow.
To tell them which way they're facing. So they can actually use the sun and the moon and the positions of the stars to see where they are on the ground and know which way to go. And some research has even shown that some dung beetles, like the African species Scarabaeus satyrus, can even use the light from the Milky Way galaxy overhead to like a compass to navigate. And this is a really cool study. The title is Dung Beetles Use the Milky Way for Orientation. This was by Moray Eel et al. In Current Biology in February of 2013. So they basically let a bunch of dung beetles like navigate in different lighting conditions to see like what cues they were taking, how they were getting there, how well they were getting from point A to point B under different lighting conditions. This study did involve letting the beetles roll dung around in a planetarium.
Celestial.
which is very whimsical.
Oh, like a sit down and look up at the stars
like
planetarium?
Dome with like not astral projection, celestial projections overhead so that they could like change what kind of like light was overhead in the Beetles. And so planetarium, they were letting the Beetles roll around, which I think is very whimsical and a nice image. But here's something else. During this study, the researchers, of course, had to try blocking the Beetles' view of the sky by outfitting them with little cardboard hats that covered their heads so they couldn't see the sky. Y'all cannot stop dressing up these Beetles.
And the next one is going to be about seeing if this handbag looks good.
Let's see how much funding we can get to see if Beetles wore pants. Would they wear them like this? Or
although with the stars thing, that what was it? That poem comes to mind. The "We Are All in the Gutter."
I have that in my notes.
No
It's
way.
so funny that you mentioned that. It is an Oscar Wilde quote. The quote goes, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars."
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't that so perfect for dung beetles that roll around poop while looking at the Milky Way? While stargazing? Isn't that gorgeous?
It is.
It also reminds me of the first time I saw the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
What I said to you.
Yeah.
We were out there. It was a new moon, so it was, great. We went out all the way out to Osceola State Forest. We had like a favorite little dark sky spot out there. Mm-hmm. And this was really, I think, probably my first time being out in like true, proper, like dark sky. And we get out there. We were going out there for a meteor shower, I think. It was going to be a meteor shower. And we go out there and I look up and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I said, I hope that these clouds move away by the time the meteors start. And you were like, what clouds? I was like, that big cloud. It's been over us this whole time and it's not moving. These clouds. I was like, I wish the wind would pick up so that these clouds would blow away. You were like, that is the Milky Way galaxy. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. It's like, oh. But having been out in an actual like dark sky, I get it. I see why beetles would use that for navigation. I wonder if I didn't find this while researching, but I wonder if that means light pollution has like affected dung beetle navigation. Must have, right? Like I feel like light pollution is bad for a lot of animals that rely on celestial light. Mm-hmm. I think it's really fascinating how they use the night sky to push poop around.
Oh, nice.
Now, the final category we rate animals on is aesthetics, just how nice this animal is to look at. I'm giving them a 9 out of 10. They're so cute. Have you like really looked at a dung beetle?
No.
They're adorable. They're actually so cute. They're really round. They have like one of those cute beetle faces. It's not super like mandible heavy.
Sure.
I think they're so cute, and a lot of them have really pretty colors, and I think that's really nice. I think dung beetles are adorable, and I like them very much.
Good.
Now, in the sort of little culture corner, first of all, the scarab beetle, Scarabaeus sacer, was revered in ancient Egypt and is featured in a lot of ancient Egyptian art, jewelry, and architecture. So if you've ever looked at like ancient Egyptian stuff, and you see a little beetle design, it's the sacred scarab, which is a type of dung beetle, and it is a roller, so they do roll dung balls.
Okay.
The connection here, the significance here, is that the beetle was seen as a symbol of the god Khepri, and Khepri pushed the sun across the morning sky the way that a scarab beetle pushes a dung ball. So the ball pushing thing was seen as symbolic of rolling the sun into the morning sky.
I see.
So that's why the god Khepri was usually depicted with the head, like his head being a scarab beetle. So the beetle is associated with, there's a whole like sort of suite of sun gods that are all associated with like the movement of the sun in the sky. And this is one of them. So that's sort of the significance there of like the scarab and why you see scarabs in so much Egyptian stuff, which brings me to The Mummy. The 1999 Brendan Fraser action film. Have you seen The Mummy?
Of course.
Everyone's seen The Mummy. So The Mummy shows scarab beetles. Do you remember the scarab beetles
I do,
in The Mummy? what do you remember about the scarab beetles in The Mummy?
Eating people.
They do eat people, yeah, in the movie. And I pull up a clip of like from the movie of the scarab beetles just like refresh my memory. And first of all, the scarab beetles are just like chilling in this tomb. And then they start messing with them. So like I feel like this is a skill issue on their part, actually. And the scarab beetles all like wake up and then start like burrowing around inside people's like you can see them under their skin skittering around and stuff. So when I was a kid, so first of all, I scare very easily. I'm very, very bad at watching scary movies. I'm very sensitive to scary stuff. And I must have been only like 5 or 6 years old. And I think my mom was watching The Mummy like in our living room or something. And I came out and I was like, oh, this doesn't seem that bad. And as soon as that beetle started crawling around in that person's skin, I screamed and ran out of the room and I wouldn't come back out. And it was traumatizing. I was that's the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I was just like, ugh, like I was just really creeped out by it. Now, fast forward a little bit to later on, I went to Universal Orlando, the theme park in Orlando, and went on a little ride called Revenge of the Mummy. Mm-hmm. Have you been on that ride?
I don't remember, but I've seen videos of it at least.
So, as a little spoiler for this ride, it's like, it's the Mummy. So you're like going through this tomb and there's spooky stuff. There's like, it's like a dark ride, Yeah. So stuff's like jumping out at you. There's like water. They spray water on you. I don't know, stuff like that. There's one part where they show, I guess it's a projection or something, but like all these little scarabs and they start like attacking you. Oh. And the effect that they use is unbeknownst to me until that very moment. They had little jets of air underneath the seats in the like coaster ride. So you see all these like beetles skittering around and they play a little like skittering sound and then they blow little puffs of air under your feet like there's something crawling around under you. I so nearly peed my pants. Like shot up multiple feet into the air. I was like, absolutely not. I absolutely could not keep it together. So I don't think I ever finished watching that movie. Oh. So that's my sort of cultural. There's a Pokemon also. There's a dung beetle Pokemon. It's called Relor and Rabska. Oh yeah, in the Pokemon games, Relor has this like dung ball that it's pushing around. But in the Pokemon games, it's made of mud. They say specifically that it's mud.
It's the jelly donut strike again.
Cowards. You cowards. Put poop in your games, Pokemon. You got all these Pokemon. You're trying to tell me none of them poop.
It says freak right there in the name.
Those game freaks.
I don't know if we can include that.
No, I'm too late. I already am. And just to kind of wrap things up for the dung beetle, I want to talk about their benefits to the ecosystem, because I think maybe people see little bugs crawling around in poop and they think, ew, gross, I don't want that. Like, that's nasty. Dung beetles are awesome to have around. You really, really want them, especially on a farm or in pasture land or something like that. They're very important. First of all, they help aerate the soil by digging around in the ground, right? That's like letting air and sort of keeping the ground from getting too compacted, which is really important. They also help cycle nutrients. So burying dung actually keeps the dung from just drying out in the sun. So you're bringing that dung down into the soil, which helps it fertilize the soil a lot better. Because once it's dried out, it's really difficult to break down. Yeah. So you really want it, like, it just really gets it mixed into the soil, helps fertilize the dirt a lot better. It's also really crucial in controlling fly populations. Really? Because if poop's just sitting there, flies are going to come by, right? They're going to come by and lay their eggs in it, and then they're going to make more baby flies. You're going to have a big fly problem, which is what happened in Australia when cattle were introduced. So cattle were introduced, and Australia has native species of dung beetle, but they were not prepared for cattle at all. Like, they were used to like much smaller poop. They were not ready for cattle. They were like, oh no.
The feast.
Yes. But they couldn't keep up with all of the cow dung that was left everywhere. So there were massive piles of poop everywhere, and the flies became uncontrollable. Particularly, one of them was called the buffalo fly. And it was wild. Like, it was completely unmanageable. The flies were out of control. So Starting in 1965, the Australian Dung Beetle Project released African dung beetle species into Australia and Tasmania to great success. This is not usually an introduced species success story, but it worked. It was great.
No gotchas or anything?
No gotchas. It was just awesome.
All right.
Everything was fine. They introduced dung beetles that were more, in Africa, they have very large herbivores that were much more prepared to handle the type of poop that cows put out. And they did great. And they got the flies under control. And it was just hugely helpful for the ecosystem.
Nice.
Usually when things are introduced to a new place, it goes bad.
Yes.
This is a case of it going good. So thanks, dung beetles.
Or at least of the stories we hear about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The ones that are notable enough for us to talk about them. It's usually for bad reasons.
I do wonder how many there are where you're just uneventful.
That's true. I guess we don't really talk about it unless something terrible happened.
Yeah.
Well, here you go. I'm talking about it. Something good happened. And it's dung beetles. So thanks, dung beetles.
Yeah.
We love you. And that's dung beetles.
Thanks, babe.
Thank you. Let's take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Maximum Fun Network, and then we'll get to your animal.
Have you been looking for a new podcast all about nerdy pop culture? Well, I have just the thing for you. Secret Histories of Nerd Mysteries.
Secret Histories of Nerd Mysteries is a weekly pop culture history podcast hosted by me, host Alston.
And me, host Brenda. We've already tackled mysteries such as what happened to the puppets from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Is Snoopy Mexican? And why do people hate Barney so much?
From theme parks to cartoons to 80s, 90s, and 2000s nostalgia, we tackle it all.
Check us out every Tuesday on MaximumFun.org and wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, this is Mike Cablon,
Ifewadiwe,
and Sierra Kato,
the hosts of TV Chef Fantasy League,
where we apply fantasy sports rules to cooking competition shows.
We're not professional chefs or fantasy sports bros.
Just three comedians who love cooking shows and winning.
We'll cover Top Chef, Master Chef, Great British Bake Off, whatever's in season, really.
Ooh, you know chefs love cooking whatever's in season.
We draft a team of chefs at the top of every series.
And every week, we recap the episode and assign points based on how our chefs did.
And at the end of the season, we crown a winner.
You can even play along at home if you want.
Or you can just listen to us like a regular podcast about cooking shows. That's cool, too.
Subscribe to TV Chef Fantasy League on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, darling. What animal do you have for us this week?
Well, I'm going to take you from the hot, dry land to the cooler, deep waters.
Let's go. Oh, what a nice transition. That's the best feeling when you get all spending a week in Florida really taught us the value of jumping in the water when it's really hot. So I feel refreshed already.
Yes. And this week I'm talking about the giant Moray eel, scientific name Gymnothorax javanicus.
When the moon hits your eye, like a big pizza pie. That's a moray.
Yes, yes.
I was going to get angry emails if I didn't make that joke.
This species was submitted by Sarah Palm, and I'll be getting information from the U.S. National Science Foundation, Smithsonian's Ocean website, South Carolina Aquarium, Thai National Parks, and IUCN.
Ooh, that's a lot.
And some more along the way.
Ooh, wow. You were waist deep in it, huh? A charcuterie of facts.
Yes. So most of this information is specific to this species, but parts of it are more generic to moray eels.
Okay.
Let's talk about what a moray eel is real quick.
Please.
It is an aquatic fish.
Fish tend to be...
I'm sorry. Marine is what I meant.
Oh, okay.
To specify that they're usually found in saltwater.
Aquatic.
So these are true eels. A long time ago, we talked about the electric eel.
Fake poser eel.
Yes, just a knife fish. But these are actual eels. So they're very long, very slender, compressed. I think laterally is the right word for that. Very ribbon-like.
Yeah. Like a snake.
Yes.
If a snake was a fish.
Yes. And their dorsal fin kind of flows down into the back fins to kind of make one continuous big like fin that runs the length of its back. And it doesn't have pectoral fins. So it's like no fins sticking out the bottom there. Big jaws, big toothy jaws.
They have like a dragon face almost.
Yes. Yes. a tie into the recent House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I would say that one big dragon, Vagar, the skin texture especially, and like the baggy.
It's all loose and floppy.
It makes me kind of think of Moray Eels.
I wonder if they used Moray Eels as like an inspiration for the... Because it kind of looks like that in face too, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And the coloration of this species is like a dark yellow brown with some spots. A picture will do it better justice. Now, this is a big eel.
Big boy.
They can grow up to 3 meters long or 10 feet.
Whoa, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Very big. It's very big. And weigh up to 30 kilograms or 66 pounds.
Goodness.
Yes.
That's huge.
It is very big. And they're found in the Indo-Pacific region and Red Sea, particularly in lagoons and seaward reefs, up to 50 meters deep or 164 feet.
Okay, so they're not super deep then.
No.
But they're at the bottom, just not like...
Right. You can usually find them hiding in rocks and crevices of reefs. Mm-hmm. That's where they like to hang out.
That's where I would like to hang out if I was shaped like that.
Yeah. They belong to the taxonomic family Murinidae, which is the moray eels, and comprises of over 200 species of moray eels.
So there's a lot of moray eels then.
Yes.
Not just this one.
Yes. So digging right into it of effectiveness, I'm giving a full 10 out of 10 on effectiveness.
Really?
Yeah.
But they ain't got no arms.
They don't need them. So first thing I want to talk about are their jaws.
What's going on here? This is a mess.
Yeah. So the jaws that you see are the oral jaws.
The jaws that you see?
Yes. More on that soon. So those are the oral jaws, and they're very impressive by themselves, right? Very large, very strong.
Snappy.
Pointy teeth.
Yes.
Very good for grabbing onto slippery fish and that kind of thing. And could easily hurt someone if they were to bite you.
This is a big part of the reason that I am quite scared of like hanging out near like coral reefs and stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't like the thought of what could be in there.
You don't want to be bitten by one of these.
No.
So that's the first set of jaws.
Oh, the first.
The second set of jaws I want to talk about are called the pharyngeal jaws.
There's a surprise bonus jaws.
Yes.
Round 2.
Now, if you're at all familiar with moray eels, you might have already heard about these. I know I was already aware of this. But what I didn't know is that most fish have them.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
And what their purpose is to help move food into their esophagus. So most fish also use suction to pull prey into their mouths by quickly expanding their closed mouths to create negative pressure, which causes nearby water and whatever is in that water to get sucked into their mouths. We see that a lot in fish.
Yeah, because if you just like pull your mouth open really fast, it's going to make kind of like a vacuum almost that just kind of like makes all the water pour inside.
Yep.
Push stuff from behind.
It's like a sucking up kind of motion.
Yeah.
So eels don't do this, or at least they're not very good at it with how their mouth is structured.
Don't have to drag them. Jeez.
Instead, they grab on with their primary jaws, like the oral jaws, and their pharyngeal jaws extend forward.
Ooh, I don't want them to do that.
Which most fish cannot do.
Okay. Yeah, most of them stay put. Most of them have the common decency.
And so once the pharyngeal jaws spring forward and latch on, it then drags it back into the throat,
horrifying.
into the esophagus.
How horrifying. That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I say with a huge smile. That's terrifying.
Yep.
Like Alien. Wait, am I thinking of the right thing?
Sort of. In that the alien from the Alien movies have a little second mouth that pops out of their head.
How is that different from what you just said?
Because I haven't seen very much of it, but it's not like a pulling food into their mouths type thing. It's basically just like, I'm going to bite you with something else instead of what you thought I was going to bite you with. Ha! Gotcha. You can't appreciate it because you're dead.
That's just for me.
But yeah, so that information comes from an article titled "Raptorial Jaws in the Throat Help Moray Eels Swallow Large Prey" by Mehta and Wainwright from Nature Journal in 2007. The next thing I want to talk about is their breathing. So they have this iconic look of just kind of peeking out of rocks and constantly opening and closing their mouths. Right.
I just figured they were just really surprised by everything going by all the time.
Yeah, a classic internet joke is they have the look on their face that they just told a joke and they're waiting for you to react to it. So what's actually going on here is this is their way of moving water over their gills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a shark, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You'll notice that they don't have the large gill slits like a lot of fish do. Instead, they have a small hole where the slit would be. You can kind of see the structures beneath the skin of where they have that full gill plate, but it's just a smaller hole opening to allow the water to pass over it. So they have to do that kind of mouth opening thing to move water over their gills.
What if every time you had to breathe, you had to like open your mouth all the way completely?
Yeah. Lungs are cool.
Yeah, fish. Nerds. Get lungs. Get lungs, idiot.
Next thing is their size. They're the largest moray eel in the Indo-Pacific, and they have few natural predators once fully mature.
I feel like the sharp teeth are putting in a lot of work here, though.
Yeah.
Also, when big things are fast and have sharp teeth, you really want to just find an easier meal. I think.
Yeah. So yeah, they're very big.
I certainly wouldn't be grabbing one. That's for sure.
So yeah, they don't have very many big predators. They are kind of competing though with like reef sharks and things for food, but they are, I believe, considered apex predators. The next thing that I think pushed me to the perfect score.
Ooh.
Is they have a defense against humans.
Against humans?
Yes.
Like specifically?
And that is food poisoning.
What? That doesn't seem... Okay, like... So do fish, I guess. Like...
So here's the thing with moray eels, particularly this species. They bioaccumulate ciguatoxins, particularly in their livers.
Oh.
Which can cause ciguatera poisoning when consumed by humans.
Oh, it's
Yes.
like a specific sort of like...
It's a specific toxin that is produced by, I think, certain corals and that kind of thing that get eaten by those kinds of fish. And then those kind of fish get eaten by bigger fish. So that's what we mean by bioaccumulate.
Got it.
This being like an apex predator, it's bioaccumulating all of those toxins from all of the lower rung fish, right?
Mm-hmm. You are what you eat.
Yeah.
And what they eat are poison.
To humans, at least.
I just had a healthy batch of poison. Nice big bowl of piping hot poison.
Yeah. Now, that toxin cannot be cooked out, and it also cannot be tasted or smelled.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yes.
There's nothing you can do. You will definitely die.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, not every single individual is going to have levels of these toxins that will hurt you, but it is common enough to where you probably do not want to risk it.
That's interesting because that's probably not necessarily something that evolved, like wasn't necessarily a selective pressure, like wasn't probably selected for by evolution to make them poisonous, right? Because if you're poisonous to deter things from eating you, it's probably going to be something that, like, I don't know, is like secreted by the skin, something that will hopefully poison you before you have consumed the entire animal, right?
Yeah.
But like this is something that seems like it was just an accident and it just happened to help.
Yeah. So that poisoning symptoms include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, abnormal skin sensations.
Oh, that's fun.
So like pin prickles and numbness, that kind of thing. Muscle weakness, hypotension, which means a lowering of your blood pressure, and bradycardia, which means your heart rate slows down too much.
It seems like it would be easier to list symptoms it doesn't cause.
Feeling okay.
Being alive.
A general sense of well-being.
It scared me of being alive.
And a lot of this information is from the paper Regional Variations in the Risk and Severity of Ciguatera Caused by Eating Moray Eels, found in the Toxins Journal in 2017 by Chan. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. You can find stories of outbreaks of this happening, particularly in the areas that they're found or where they're exported. So it becomes a big problem because they're very big fish. So, and then they can get served to a lot of people in one sitting.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then so the biggest problems happen when their like liver and guts are being eaten, or if it's not being gutted in the first place. So like maybe they're not eating them directly, but they didn't gut the fish when they cooked it.
Oh yeah.
So the muscle has the toxins too, but they're in much, much higher levels in the viscera of the fish.
Interesting.
So if you don't gut the fish before you cook it, I think the idea is that it can spread to the rest of the fish, or worst case, you actually eat
Err on the side of caution.
Yeah. So, and people have died from this. So, and they basically act as an ambush predator during the day, but they actively hunt at night.
I guess, well, it's dark.
Yeah.
You can sneak up on them.
You know how I knew that one?
How'd you know that one?
Dave the Diver.
Dave
the
the
game.
Diver. Oh, the game you were playing. Yeah.
If you go swimming in the ocean at night, there are moray eels swimming around.
Oh, that's
And
pretty cool.
During the day, they're in a rock and inaccessible. They can still bite you, though, but you can't get at them in the
That
rocks.
is such interesting. Like, I wonder how much they researched, like, fish behavior.
They had to have done a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, to know, like, oh, yeah, they'll be in the rocks in the daytime, but they come out at night. Like, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. The next category of ingenuity, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. Very surprising things here. The big thing, and really the only thing I have here, is teamwork with other species.
Let's go.
So 2 instances of this. One is pretty common with some other fish too, and that's mouth cleaning from cleaner wrasses. You can often see them cleaning the inside of their mouths. So it's kind of picking at things that's in their mouths. And they let them do it. They don't eat them, that kind of thing.
I guess the mouth opening behavior helps with that. 'Cause it's saying all the time.
For sure.
I really like watching cleaner wrasses because it feels really cool to see like an interaction between an animal that it would be nothing to them to just snap their jaws shut and eat that fish. No questions asked. This fish is the cleaner wrasse. It's tiny. It's defenseless. There's nothing it can do. Like it has no sort of like weapons or defenses or anything. But these giant, massive apex predators just like let them in to their mouth and don't do anything to them. It's like this weird dynamic where they're like, let's all be cool. Like they have like an understood rule of like nobody messes with the cleaner wrasses.
Yeah, yeah.
It actually reminds me a lot, to go back to the House of the Dragon thing, it reminds me a lot of seeing like the people riding dragons and stuff, like holding their hands up to the dragon. And like in Game of Thrones, you see them like petting the dragon and stuff. And you have that like sense of being on edge because like I just saw it completely decimate a village.
Right.
And, but like seeing a little defenseless person just like right up next to it. That's what it feels like to see a cleaner wrasse.
Yeah, yeah.
I love them. I think they're great.
Yeah. These fish are, by the way, are thought to be a source of a lot of the sea serpent tails, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I see the sea serpent a lot more in morays than in actual sea snakes.
Yeah, yeah. I came across a video of a sea snake trying to eat a moray eel.
Don't do that. You're not winning that fight, my guy.
It did not. It got pretty far, though.
Although, for a moray, because when I think of like sea serpent mythology, I think of people seeing something come up out of the water. You know what I mean? Like it's usually because something has like broken the surface.
Yeah.
And it's like, a whale breaching or something like that. So I'm wondering if a moray, it sounds like morays don't really do that.
No.
So
yeah.
I'm wondering how did they come
people
across a moray?
swam.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering like how they saw morays enough to have thoughts about them.
I don't know. Fishing nets, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think the way they swim is also hypnotic. That ribbon movement.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how else to explain this other than like, if you imagine they're on a set path, like their full body follows that path as it moves along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a snake.
Yeah.
It's very serpentine sort of motion.
And it looks really cool in the water.
Where like it's almost like the silhouette is stationary, but like you can see like the creature sort of moving along it.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is those old screensavers of like pipes that like are moving around. A little bit like that.
Yeah, okay.
So the next teamwork thing I want to talk about is coordinated hunting with a species of grouper in the Red Sea.
Tell me about this.
So groupers is a type of, a lot of times a larger fish. For us, we often talk about the Goliath grouper because those can be found off the coast of Florida.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Like 10 plus feet long?
Yeah.
Massive fish.
I don't think this one is that big, but
Yeah.
it gives you the general idea of the layout of that kind of fish.
Yeah.
Big and beefy, normally open water fish.
Tanky fish.
Yeah. So what it does is this grouper will signal to a moray to begin a joint hunt by shaking its head in front of that moray.
LFG.
If it accepts, the moray will leave its crevice and swim off with the grouper.
I like this little like pull up. Honk your horn outside my door. Let's ride.
So what they'll do is they'll work together to where the moray will chase things through crevices of the reef And if what they're chasing runs out into open water, the grouper chases it and gets it.
It's a lose-lose.
Yes. So, and it's the vice versa. So if something starts in the open water and tries to run away into the reef, the moray is down there.
How awful it must be to be a fish. What a horrible existence.
And what's interesting about this is the fact that both species swallow their prey whole helps to avoid fighting over a carcass.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess you can't exactly wrangle it away, right?
It has to be a give and take.
How are you going to fight a moray? Tell me.
Yeah. So
they both have to just like accept the risk of loss,
yeah,
right? Like they
you're
just
not
have
gonna
to
get everything.
Yeah, but this type of behavior came up when we were talking about the day octopus.
Okay.
Which will do this also with groupers or with other types of like predatory fish. But if the dynamic becomes lopsided, like if the fish is getting too much prey and the octopus is dissatisfied with the relationship, they will punch them.
Take that.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Pow! Catch these 8 hands. That's the problem with morays. No hands to throw.
It's all got to be mouth based.
You can catch these.
So a lot of that information comes from the article Interspecific, Communicative, and Coordinated Hunting Between Groupers and Giant Moray Eels in the Red Sea by Bashari, Honer, Ait El-Judi, and Frick in the PLOS Bio journal in 2006.
PLOS stands for Public Library of Science.
Ah, thank you. This time I just copied the citation that they offer and put that in my notes.
I like when they do that.
So to bring us to our last category of aesthetics, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. And I'm giving it for cool points.
Yeah. I think this is a gorgeous fish.
Yes.
They're so cool. I think they're beautiful.
Very long, very goblin-like.
Oh, I am seeing goblin, kobold almost sort of like in the face. Like...
There's even some other kinds of moray that have way more gnarly like snouts and teeth. But yeah, they don't have any scales. Danger ribbon. Honestly, if I were to see one of these swimming in open water, I would be very nervous.
Yeah. Because especially if it's like in open water, something terrible has happened. And
if it's coming right at you,
he's having a bad day. You really don't want to be in line of sight.
Swim away.
No, thank you.
No, they're not particularly aggressive,
sure.
And that they'll come after you for no reason. But people often get hurt because they don't see them, and they might try reaching into a crevice for something like a lobster.
That's why I don't do that.
Don't do it.
No.
So yeah, they can be a little territorial of their immediate space.
I've been out like snorkeling and stuff on reefs, and every time I see someone messing around with a reef, I'm like, they're not telling you not to mess with the reef for the reef's benefit.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in there, my guy.
Yeah.
It could be something that's going to ruin your day.
And
You want to leave the situation with as many fingers as you came into it with.
yeah. Another kind of thing with Dave the Diver, when I was searching for videos and things of moray eels, another one of the things that came up is a Titan triggerfish, which you'll see lots of videos of those things running up on a diver, like a scuba diver, and then trying to bite them with these like big honking teeth.
Yeah, it's like a beak.
Yeah.
Like a little beak.
It looks painful too if it gets you. That's another enemy in Dave the Diver.
I feel like as soon as you set foot in the ocean, just boss music should just start playing.
Yeah. So their conservation status is of least concern.
They're fine.
To circle back to that point about the poison defense, which is not a big defense, but now it's well known enough to humans that there's no like at scale demand for them.
Sure.
Right? They're not being targeted by fisheries or anything.
There are tastier fish.
They are sometimes taken for aquariums.
I've seen them in a few aquariums, I feel like.
I came across this one guy's video where he bought 2 eels off someone, and they said they were 2 different species. But he later found out after he had received these eels that one of them was a giant moray eel.
You do not want to get one of those by accident.
Well, he figured out that mistake and realized I need a much bigger tank. Because they can get, like I said, 10 feet long.
Yeah.
That's a huge tank for especially like a house.
But also you don't want to keep it in a tank that you've got other stuff in.
Well,
then you're going to have a tank with just a moray in it very quickly.
Well, it was interesting because these 2 eels, I guess, had to be sold together because they were raised together. So that's
what was the plan there, I wonder?
I don't know. But I don't know. They seem to have gotten along with the addition of 2 other eels, like 2 other kind of moray eels in there.
Interesting.
Or maybe 3 more.
I would not try to keep one in my house because they scare me, but...
I mean, I wouldn't want even the smallest saltwater fish tank, much less one the size of your room.
Yeah. I'm glad that people have them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of them. I'm happy to see them. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah. No thanks. I'm good.
It's a lot of work for a decorative pet that I can't pet and play with.
Oh, this reminds me. Media depictions.
Oh, please.
So famously, Disney's Little Mermaid featured 2 eels,
yes.
Jetsam and Flotsam.
Yes.
That were kind of the henchmen of Ursula.
Yeah, they were like the hyenas of that movie.
Yeah. Did they depict them as being like having like electric powers? Is that what I'm remembering?
I looked into this recently.
Okay.
In the original animated movie, no.
No? Okay.
No. They did not do electricity in the original movie.
Okay.
Apparently, there was like an animated spin-off series that at some point had eels that were clearly moray eels, but they did did have electrical like powers,
sure.
But that was, I think, in a spin-off that I wasn't able to like get access to.
Okay.
But in the live action Little Mermaid reboot that came out, 2-3 years ago? I don't know how long ago that was. They did actually have the eels using electricity aggressively, as a weapon. I found it in the movie just to make sure that it really did happen in the movie. But apparently it wasn't in the original one, but it was in the newer one. I was like, how did you guys add an inaccuracy?
I feel like there had to have been something like where maybe they got electrocuted by something else. Because I have like a vivid memory.
It may have been the show.
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But of course, these do not have electric eel powers.
Yeah, because electric eels are not eels.
Right.
It's not that. I think this is like people's tendency to just think that eels are just like one thing.
Sure.
And they just lump all of the information they know about any type of eel. Like it's all together. That's just eels.
And in the electric eel's case, while the eel part was not accurate, the electric part was like in that they were naming it because it's unusual, right? So. I would say most fish could not do that kind of thing.
Yeah. The electric part is true. They really do that.
But not morays. Yeah.
They don't even need to, like they would need to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Don't need arms, don't need electricity.
They bite twice.
They do double piercing damage.
So yeah, that's the giant moray eel.
What a cool fish. Thank you so much. That was really fun.
Of course.
And thank you to everybody who has spent this time with us today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly had fun. And thank you for having fun with us. If you liked what you heard today, we would love it if you would leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. I've got one that's from Dragon, which is how I'm choosing to read their username on Apple Podcasts, who says, "Thank you for rating bobcats and raccoons. They're 2 of my favorite animals, and I love learning about animal facts." That was very nice. Thank you.
Yes.
We really enjoy reading the kind words that you guys leave behind for us. You can also hang out with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. So come hang out with us on there if you want to chit chat. Also, I'm going to be around at PAX West on Friday. So if anyone is going to PAX West, if you see me there, come say hi.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other amazing shows like the ones that you heard promos for here today. New Boko episode is going up this week. It's really, really fun. It's a Jeopardy style quiz show that I did with Alex Schmidt from Secretly Incredibly Fascinating. I think you guys are going to really love that. If you want to learn more about the network, the other shows, how you can sign up to support our show and get access to that really cool bonus content, head over to MaximumFun.org. And finally, thank you to Louis Zong for our theme music, which I really love very much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.